Hey everyone, Jim Phoenix here, and today we've got a special What's Cracking, a spookily special What's Cracking. We've got none other than Barb from my haunted hometown on the T+E Channel. Friday, September 6th, 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. Doesn't matter which coast you live in, just dial in at 10. Mountain time? You do the math. I don't know. But here we go, Barb. I want to thank you so much for taking this time to talk to us. I've watched the episode and it is creepy. It
It's
is
good.
creepy.
It's a good one.
Yeah, we can't do too many spoilers because this will go up before this September 6th drop date. But I have to ask, when you bought the house, and this was kind of like a dream house, right?
It was our forever home, right? Like that
Right.
was, right? It was our forever home.
I like that. It's the thing that makes you go in going, okay, I can come home. This is a great place to do and set up our life together. What made it change? Was it small things for you? Was it one big thing for you? Was it a little bit of like a feeling, or what was like the first instance of
It's
that?
it started at night, and it was mostly me that would see it and feel it. It was like somebody
Right.
watching you. And you know how you look and there's that darkness, and then it disappears when you look and you're like, well, I know something just moved over there, but and it would kind of vanish as you tried to search.
Right.
But it got braver over time, and, if you got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, it would pop out in the hallway at you.
Oh my gosh, that would scare me.
It
That
was
would just scare me to death.
terrified. I was like a little kid who was in bed, and I'd have to pee,
Right?
like, "Okay, now how am I gonna get to the here?" And it was like, "Let's try this again, like, one more time, let's see." And sometimes he wouldn't bother you and you could make it to the
Right.
bathroom, and other times it was, "Oh, no," he was waiting, and he would just pop out, and it would terrify me. And my husband teased me, he thought it was just me, and then one night he got up and it did it to him, and I heard him yell when I was in bed, and I started to laugh, and I thought, "It finally got him." I thought, "Good, it's about time he got some of it too." So,
That's right. It's always funny when it happens to someone else.
yeah.
But once it starts happening to you, and then becomes like, oh, it's just not my wife making it up. There's something right there.
Yeah, there's something here. It was an old man, like, you could clearly see it was an old man.
That would that's pretty scary, and there's a couple things we should probably get into because I've correct me if I'm wrong, but for this episode is called Looping.
Yeah.
Looping, okay. So the very first episode of My Haunted Hometown on the T+E Channel, September 6th, 10 p.m. Eastern Pacific. It's on looping, and when I first heard it, I'm like, "So voiceovers? The ghosts are doing voiceovers now? Like, I'm losing the ghosts? My career is gone. The dead are doing it?" And it turns out, no, looping was like the replay of the emotional day or the emotional expunging that things can have, right? And it's never a good looping. It's not like this is the best day looping. It's
No,
usually the darkness.
it's darkness. It's
Yeah.
it's darkness, and I used to call it, like, residual energy because I didn't know what
There you
else
go.
to call it, but loopings is much it's more descriptive. It actually nails it, because that's what
Right.
it is. It's like a period of time that just keeps replaying, like a record skipping over and over and over again, right?
Okay. I think that's a wonderful way of describing because I used to call it like the residuals as well. And like that was like the thing that we try and describe without the word. And the record player effect, the da 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 da. So is this around the same times that this would happen?
It's always after dinner. It's always after dinner, night only.
Okay, I was wondering if it was a daytime or nighttime. So it's nighttime only, and it's not a room specific. It's like you're guessing where it's going to pop out.
Oh, the room thing is really funny. I'm glad you brought that up. My house was a bunkhouse for an original farmhouse, and it was
Oh
an
wow!
8 by 10 shack. And it was added onto over the years. And we didn't know that when we bought the house. We thought, oh, what a cute little cottage. And then it turns out that it was a bunkhouse for a farmhouse. It was just a shed. And it was added onto over time. And I noticed that the ghost never came in my bedroom.
Really?
And I noticed he never was in the dining room. It was always the living room, the kitchen, the hallway, and that one bathroom that was in the hallway. It's a very tiny little cottage. It's only 1,100 square feet. And there were certain areas that he was in, but he wouldn't go in other areas. And after, when I put an addition on in my bedroom, we found out that they were never here when he was here.
That's amazing. So the ghost physically is like, I'm trapped at the location because the additions weren't there.
It does, yeah, this is like that was what was here
Oh,
when he
wow.
was here, so he doesn't know about my bedroom, he doesn't know about my dining room. They
That's a
exist in his reality.
Gosh, that is so very cool. Thanks for saying that because I was watching this special and I was seeing some very frightening things, and I won't get into the evidence. Very cool evidence, by the way. Very, very frightening stuff. And I was trying to figure out what rooms had the most activity, but I never thought to say which rooms have no activity.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have thought that. I thought like he one time he chased me down the hallway, and I think I've got the strength to say, "Hey, get out of my face," get
Yeah,
away, get out of my house. But it wasn't working with this guy. Like he seemed to have as much strength as I did to fight back and say, "Hey, this is my house too." So I'm fighting for my house, and he's fighting for his house. It's like a battle between us. So I,
right.
hey, let's compromise. How about you go outside? You can have all the property outside, but don't come in my house.
I laugh because we used to do this trick at the bars when I used to be a bouncer. Like, all right, buddy, I had too much to drink. You can still drink at that bar over there.
Yeah.
I'll walk you towards off of a property. Have fun.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to do. So what was really funny is I had set up all these boundaries that I didn't want him in my house, and I thought, okay, I've got it now. He can't come in my house. He's only here.
Right.
He has to be here for the goodness of me and my family in order to come in my house, right? And he was still in my kitchen. And I was like, what is going on? And then when we got
Right.
another addition on the house, we started to research. The kitchen was outside when he was here. So he still thinks he's outside. He's respecting his boundary. He's agreed to it.
Oh, wow. It's like, I am outside.
He's like, I'm outside.
Poor guy.
I'm actually in my kitchen. And I was like, okay, now we're having fun with this reality thing. My reality and his reality are two different things. So now do I have to compromise or does he have to move back further?
Well, the the good news is there was some sort of communication that happened, and at very least, he was trying to meet you in that communication the way he understood it.
Yes.
So it's almost like talking to a little child where you have to be very exact to go, okay, this is the new thing.
Yeah.
And maybe give or take, like maybe something from inside the house he likes, put it outside. And oh, that's a dog I'm thinking of. But still, it might still work.
It's
It
just
might still work.
funny. Like it's just so funny that it works like that. Like you really got to think about this stuff. Like
Right.
it's like, well, it's not working. Why is it not working? How come he still hangs here once in a while? So everything was pretty quiet for a while after we did the filming. He was a little bit more active because we kind of fed him a little bit of ego, as I call it. And
Right.
then it went quiet again. And then now we're putting on another edition. So now guess who's back? So
Oh,
we've been laughing.
I wonder. I wonder when you're doing this, when you're doing the additions, is there anything on the ground? Because it used to be a farmhouse, so it used to be a farmland for the bunkhouse. But was there anything there before the
Um,
farm?
I don't know what was here before. It was farmland, so I'm not
Okay.
really sure. The house has had quite a few people in it over its time period.
Is there anyone who's you bought the house from? Did they say like, "Oh, by the way,
Oh
you might
yeah,
not want to go to the bathroom"? Yeah.
yeah. I had a my kitchen. I can't. I don't want to give the details, but
Right.
something's happened in my kitchen, and it also happened when the neighbor who lives next door. This was her house at
Oh
one
wow.
when they first got married. They bought this house, and then they had quite a bit of property attached to this house, so they subdivided it and built the house next door. And she come right over one day and said to me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just, just walking around the property, but I was saging the property." And she seen me and she knew what it was. So she come over and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just cleaning, cleansing the air and stuff."
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, well, I wanted to tell you." And she come right out and told us exactly the same story that I hadn't had experienced yet, but I did 5 years later.
Oh wow. That's that's proactive of you trying to sage the house. I think we all know enough to say if it's really bad spirits, hopefully those this will help out a lot.
Yeah.
And if it's some sort of a ownership thing, then it gets into the weird. Where is he buried at? Is there something did he die in the house? All these little things start coming to your mind, like, why can't I get rid of this one spirit? And then, of course, have you looked up his identity? Have you tried to
Yeah, we found him. We know
you
who
found him? Okay. You found him?
who he is.
Is he one of the 12,000 serial killers that apparently lived in the town?
No, I don't even know if he was, but it makes you wonder. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, him and his wife passed away, and one was in the hospital, one was in a nursing home. So
Okay.
they went of old age, but they had a hard life here. It had a little bit of acreage to it, and they had
Yeah.
a farm, and they had a fruit stand on the highway, and they worked hard on the land to make money, and that's what he's still here doing, I feel.
Yeah, it's kind of like the pride of work and the worked hard in life and maybe didn't know anything else in death and always just trying to keep working.
Yeah, that's he's still working. He's still working, and he's trying to figure out who we are in his house.
So when you first experienced it, did you ever think that's it, we're selling or we're out?
No, because I thought I could get rid of him. I thought, oh, I can, it's just an energy. I can get rid of it.
Right.
Because I work with, I work with clairvoyance myself, and I'm like, I can handle this. But no, I couldn't handle it. I've called in a lot of people to help me get rid of this guy, and he ain't going nowhere.
Okay. Now I'm glad you brought up the clairvoyance thing. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Because as I was prepping for this, of course, if you want to watch an episode of Barb, it's My Haunted Hometown, September 6th, 10 p.m. Eastern Pacific, only on T&E. And matter of fact, they told me not to steal cable, but if you have cable, you can watch a free, like a month and a half, 2 months almost, from September 2nd to 3rd of November, the free preview event. Check it out. Every Friday is a new episode for My Haunted Hometown. And I love this show because I grew up in a small town. Like I grew up in a small town and a lot of things like, oh, this looks like this place in I'm mapping it, your town to my town I grew up in. And when you're saying, oh, it was a barn, I'm like, I wasn't born in a barn. I wasn't born in a barn, but I lived in one for a while where I'm like, yeah, they should take like barn houses and make small apartments out of them, like little segmented rooms, and then remember to put insulation in afterwards. And then and then as you add on, you probably say like, oh yeah, this needs to be insulated more. But one of the spooky things is for me, I saw myself in your house. And I was trying to figure out everything that was going bump in my place right now. Like, is that going to be like transferring over? So, my question, very long winded question to you is, are you worried about this attachment? Will he attach to you as the new living energy, bright, sparkly thing as a clairvoyant, right? Do you fear that attachment of the entity?
I don't fear attachment. I think his
Okay.
attachment is to the property.
It's more to the property than okay.
I think his love was for the land, this land, and he put his whole heart into the land, into his house. And I think that's the attachment, is the house, and I'm the stranger in his house. That's how I look at it. But I think he does feed off of our energy, because the more
Yes.
we talk about him, the stronger he tends to get.
Well, I can't wait to do too much press. I'm so sorry. I'm like, now I feel bad. I'm like, oh no. If you're doing something now and a disturbance, we won't describe it, but as a disturbance happens, do you acknowledge it like you would like a little kid trying to get attention? Like, okay, I see you, and then move on.
Yeah, I try and ignore it now because I don't want to give it the attention.
Okay.
I'll notice it and I just pretend like I didn't notice it. I just don't want to give it any attention. It's like I'm talking to you right now, and while you were talking, I could feel something over here, and I turned to look, and then now I'm just going to ignore it because there's something there, and I don't want to deal with it. I don't.
Yeah.
Probably him. So
Oh, trust me.
don't want to go there. I'm like, just stop. Like, I'm not giving him any attention. But my ears were ringing on this side, and
Yeah.
I could just feel like a pressure over here. And I just thought, yeah, this new technology, this new internet stuff, I think it has a lot that they can really communicate through a lot through this. And I think they're
Tons.
fascinated by it, but I think they know more stuff about it than we do. So,
It's a great angle because I think you're right. I think you are right. The more gadgets we get that can do voice over the internet protocols or electronical things that can talk, it's better for them to try to communicate with. And because energy is energy, it's a little more inherently like knowledgeable for them, right?
Yeah.
I think you can probably set some stuff up. Ooh.
I keep looking in the background behind me because I'm like, okay, is he actually going to make an appearance while I'm talking to you, or what's going on? Because I can
Uh,
feel it. It's really funny.
Full disclosure, me too. I'm like, every, we got an orb on camera once
That's crazy.
doing interviews like, "Bloop," I'm like, I thought I hallucinated it. And the guest is like, no, I saw that too. I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah,
We both saw it.
I'm just waiting for something to come up because it's pretty strong behind me. I'm like, okay, I'm trying not to turn around and look. I'm laughing. I'm like, okay. I
So
just
we'll, yeah,
We don't know much about this technology, but like you said, I think they find it very easy for them to communicate through this new technology. So,
yeah. I think it's akin to an adult trying to use a piece of advanced electronic technology. We try to understand how to use it. A child trying to use a piece of advanced technology is going to use it however they want.
yeah,
And like the ghost will be like, I have never seen this before in my life. It must be what does this do? One of those things.
yeah,
Exploratories.
yeah. It's like welcome to Star Trek, right? It's like the stuff
Eh,
that you never thought that you'd ever see. You can imagine what it must appear to these guys, right? It's like, what is that? She has a communicator.
I exactly. I bought a phone $1,000 for a communicator. It looks like a Star Trek communicator. That's like it's finally happened. I can finally do this. Absolutely.
Heard of Star Trek a lot because I was raised in the 60s and 70s, so Star Trek was the big thing. So if I want to protect myself, it's hey, engage shields. You know,
I'm
if I
guilty of that too.
I'm like, if I want to meditate and go into like an alpha state, I'm like, okay, beam me down, Scotty. I'm like, let's go. Like, I use that slang a lot. I guess I shouldn't, but
I think it works. I think we can visualize things and make and manifest with our own energy because we have that mapping. Like he has a mapping of his house, what his house should be.
yeah,
You have the mapping of our cultural background with Star Trek, me too. And it gives us a focal point to really focus the energy in a way that we can manifest the way we want.
yeah. Like it's you can visualize it. You know what it
Yes.
like everybody. If you say beam me up, Scotty, everybody knows what that is, right? So it's kind of funny that you just kind of tend to that stuff. But yeah, no, I'm laughing. He seems to have calmed down a little bit now, so I'm hoping that he's not. Whenever I talk about him, he seems to get a little bit stronger. So
It seems like if you talk about him, it's is it getting his attention or is it part of the manifestation of your energy like flashing and pulling? You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know.
Fishing.
Is like I'm not experienced enough to know. I always joke that I'm a ghost magnet, but I try not to be. I really do not want to see all the stuff or feel all the stuff. I don't want people to think I'm crazy all the time. So I try not to, but there's something there. I don't know if it's because I'm more open to it or
Right.
eating off my energy. I'm not sure. I
Right.
just try to ignore it and hopefully it goes away, but this guy ain't going anywhere.
I brings me to another it's kind of like a question and slash statement because the T&E channel, by the way, if you want to watch my haunted hometown, it's at September 6th, 10 p.m. Eastern Pacific. When I watch the T&E channel, what makes them special is they take people at face value. They give people room to talk to about their narrative, about their lived experience, and they believe. Like they're not trying to make the crazy person, as you're saying. What was your experience with like this from saying I'm going to be on the show to taping to the aftermath? Like, is it helping you share your stories? Does it help you to share your story that way?
It was awesome that I got to share it that way. I really liked the way the show was done. I like that they actually come and try and reenact, like that it was
Oh yeah.
actually me. doing it. But it's scary to say that you're going to do a show like that because you're exposed now to a lot of people, and you're thinking, okay, there's a lot of non-believers. But if you are a T+E watcher, then you have to be into the paranormal. That's, that's what it's all.
The
That's
whole
the
channel.
go to. That's the channel, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm on T+E, then yeah, I'm okay with it because it's the paranormal channel. It's like you said, people don't have to be convinced. They understand. They've already had experience themselves, or they can relate to us, a little bit easier. But you don't have to sell yourself. You just have to be yourself, and then people
Yes.
will get it, right?
Absolutely. I think that's a great distinction. You don't have to sell yourself. You just have to be yourself.
Yeah, like that's, I'm not trying to hide nothing. I'm as real as you're going to get. So I'm just like, this is what happened to me, and this is I can't say it's the truth, but it's up to other people if they want to believe it or not. But I know if they're on T+E, they already know it's true. So
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about TNA when they do the interviews. I do like the "is this person lying" bit, and a lot of times on different shows, like not obviously not on TV channels, but they do great homework themselves. They're like, "Oh, this person is just like just trying to sell the new product coming out. They're not really believing what they're saying." Every T&E interview I've seen, especially on My Haunted Hometown, I love the episode, by the way, on September 6th at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. 100% just true, 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 true. And that's what comes through. Real people. You're not being coached. You're not being, okay, yeah, try it again this way. It's none of that. It's real people telling their stories the way they need to tell it. And that's what really makes it endearing. It makes an experience that you want you root for the people. Like, I'm like, oh, I hope I'm afraid for you. I root for you, you know?
you'll see on the episode that I'm not the only person on the episode, that there's
Right.
other people in Strathroy. But Carl's story, he's not clairvoyant. He's not. He's never seen anything like this in his life. And the experiences that he has and the documentation that he has will just blow you away. Like, and you're not going to get a nicer guy than Carl. He is just an amazing person. And he is like, when he's talking to you, he's
Yeah.
just right from the heart. And his story, like what's his experience that happened to him, is just phenomenal. Like, it's just crazy.
And all these stories made me want to move to your town. I'm like, everyone's like, "Get it." Oh my gosh. I'm like, not so much for the serial killer part. Like, I need to do more research on that one. But all the stories that people are telling and the people who are telling them, like, these are people you want as neighbors. This is what a hometown should be.
There's some really good people in this town. It's a
Yeah.
small town, and people are coming out more with, they're not scared to tell people, hey, yeah, I seen a ghost.
Just
It's becoming more acceptable to talk about the paranormal, and it's a good thing because of shows like this. It makes
yes.
it more acceptable, right?
Yeah. And that's why I'm forever grateful for the T&E channel. And again, I can't wait to be able to talk about your show and spoil the crap out of it once it airs on September 6th at 10 p.m. Eastern Pacific, only on T&E. And I think it brings a lot of people together. Like the horror community loves it. The people who are not like hardcore horror fans, they like it because it's their tiptoe in and it's real.
Yeah.
People can see it and then grasp it, and it's the people telling the stories. So, Barb, I want to thank you very much for your time. It's been fantastic talking to you,
Thank you so much for having me on.
and I can't wait. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again, and I can watch it on T&E's free preview from September 2nd to the 3rd of November. And once September 6th happens at 10 p.m. Eastern Pacific, my haunted hometown, every week, new episode until we get to the Ocho. All right, that's it for me. Barb, thanks a lot for again. I love it. I can't wait to watch it again. Have a good day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.